Why did you all decide to build Gravitee 4.0 the way you did? How do you see it changing the API management market?
So I think one of the things we saw at Gravitee with our customers and the way the market was evolving was organizations starting to adapt event-driven architectures. They wanted to take more real-time decisions. They wanted to deliver better real-time experiences to end consumers. So they started to adopt technologies like Kafka, Confluence, Solace, MQTT, and other type of streaming and event-based architectures. And as they were doing that, they started to kind of feel the pain of not having governance and exposure and productization on top of those technologies. So the common concepts that have been around in API management for a long time, like a developer portal, subscription management, traffic shaping, protocol mediation, didn't necessarily live and exist in that sort of world. So what better place to solve that problem than API management? So with Gravitee 4.0, we are really looking at bringing event APIs as a first-class citizen to the entire API lifecycle. So whether it's documenting APIs with async API, whether it's exposing your Kafkas with WebSockets or service-sent events, or whether it's making request or response traffic shaping or publish and subscribe message level traffic shaping, we wanted to kind of bring the same concepts across both velocities of data movement. So we, with 4.0, are looking to change how API management also allows event-driven architectures to be controlled, secured, and exposed in the same way that you do with traditional APIs.
What was the most challenging aspect of getting Gravitee 4.0 out the door?
So one of the challenges with the event-driven architectures is that a lot of concepts are different compared to traditional approaches. With REST APIs or SOAP APIs, you typically talk about request and responses. You typically talk about the HTTP protocols. When you talk about event-driven architectures, there's obviously a big plethora of different types of consumption styles with different protocols and different interpretations of how messages are perceived, replayed, and so forth. So what we've done at Gravitee is really re-architectured the way we internally define an API so that it can be both compliant with the open APIs and the request and response type of architectures, as well as the asynchronous and publish subscribe type of architecture. So we really built this from the ground up, allowing our gateway, which is obviously where a lot of our investment and effort have gone into this, to be able to work and kind of mediate over asynchronous protocols with technologies like WebSocket, webhooks, and so forth, but still allow that enforcement of policies. For example, being able to change the XML to JSON payload of a message that moves on an asynchronous WebSocket over Kafka, for example. And the gateway has been made capable of also listening to changes in an upstream event broker such as Kafka, and then taking an action, for example, sending out a webhook notification based on the data that has been changed to any subscribers that have subscribed to such APIs. So the biggest effort from Gravitee into this has been really building the platform and the gateway technology from the ground up to work with these event-driven use cases as well.
If you had to recommend one new 4.0 feature or capability for everybody to try, what would it be and why?
So I think one quite unique thing with our 4.0 release is the ability to apply traffic shaping to individual messages on an asynchronous stream. So if you're having, for example, a WebSocket API that may mediate over a Kafka topic, you can actually do payload transformations on individual messages, which is a fairly unique capability with Gravitee. If you look at how our customers are looking to use such capabilities, a lot of them are exposing their event-driven architectures as REST APIs, but very often also using webhook technologies. So webhook technologies allows consumers of data to request a subscription to a particular API and then mention their callback URL where they will have API calls being sent to by Gravity's gateway when there's an upstream change, such in a Kafka topic. So that's some of the most popular use cases that we're getting. From a higher perspective, what we feel the customers will really benefit using 4.0 capabilities is the ability to build products and drive new revenue streams on top of existing event-driven architectures with concepts like subscriptions, documentation, developer portal capabilities, and so forth.
If somebody were to ask you how Gravitee 4.0 will drive value for organizations, what would you say?
So one, of course, is getting new revenue streams and unlocking new use cases, whether that's internal and potentially external with partners and with customers, where traditionally it has been difficult to build products and to build revenue generating capabilities on top of internal event-driven architectures that typically are quite locked into internal networks and not necessarily shared easily with third parties. So that's one. And I think the second one is really the internal security and documentation capabilities that unlocks organizations to have a single source of truth for documentation and subscriptions when it comes to both synchronous and asynchronous services. So those would be my main two advantages from a business perspective.